if you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
Today's chat's been brought to you by International Horse College. International Horse College's motto is people safety and horse welfare. If that's the way you feel when you're working with horses, have a look at this website, internationalhorsecollege.com. Registered Training Organisation 31352. Now, today we're going to talk to Jason Hill, who's a specialist in rider fitness and safety. We've had him on before in previous podcasts, so if you haven't learned a little bit about EquestriaFit, go and have a listen now, horsechats.com, search for Jason or search for Hill. But meanwhile, got him on today. How are you today, Jason?
Hi, very well, Glenys. Thanks.
Now, Jason, today you're going to talk about the top 10 tips and competition strategies for rider fitness and safety. Why did you choose that? Is there something that students have been asking you, something that you've seen in other students that we need to do?
Yeah, I think every rider's looking for that little bit of edge in competition. It's going to help them to prepare and relax and be more effective and competitive.
Okay, so we'll get started with mobilising the three movement platforms of the body prior to getting on the horse, the ankles, hips and upper back. What have you got to say about that?
Sure. The quality of our movement is dependent on the free range of motion in the ankles, the hips and the upper back. And there's some very simple techniques that can be used before getting on the horse. Starting at the ankles, if you've ever had a rolled ankle or an ankle injury, you'd probably be familiar with the residual damage and scar tissue that can build up around the joint. And with a simple technique called gliding, you can help break down that scar tissue and assist the fascia and muscle planes to move with more fluid motion. And gliding is a technique that you can use on many segments of the body, and it is simply just moving the joint in all the ranges of motion that joint has the capacity to move it. And for the ankles, you can just simply have the support off a rail or a post and keeping with a staggered stance with 1 foot forward. You can glide the knee over the line of the toe with the heel in contact of that front foot and just forward and back for a set of 15 on either side. And it'll help to release what's called fascia. And fascia is like a binding tissue that surrounds muscle and penetrates muscle and has connectivity properties. And it will help to reduce bind, that sense of stiffness when you get out of bed in the morning. So little gliding techniques like that are really effective on the ankles. On the hips, you can have a simple hip swings. So if you've got a bit of support again off a rail, you can swing one leg freely across the body, so laterally across the body in front of the opposite leg and out to the side, and you can swing the leg forward and back. And that's a really simple and effective exercise. It'll only take 30 seconds each leg to be able to get the hips moving, and it generates more blood flow to the area and the joint fluids, so that when you're on the horse, you've got that fluid, relaxed feel that you're in the saddle. And then for the upper back, doing extension exercises are effective, but getting all planes of motion in that upper back area is going to assist with the mobilizing of the thoracic, which is the upper spine. And we have limited range of motion in that upper back area, but we need all the range of motion that we can get. So and having more range of motion enables the core to activate more effectively. So when you're mobilising the upper back area, it gives the core a chance to work and stabilise once you're on the horse.
What can we do with a competition tool? Something that's going to take us to a competition so we can warm up, get going. Do foam rollers work, or can you explain a little bit about foam rollers? What size is it exactly? And tell us a little bit about how to use it.
Sure. Foam rollers used widely now for therapy, and a lot of sports teams use them. They're shaped like a cylindrical tube, and they're made out of different types of materials. They're a foam. Some are higher density, some are lower density. The higher the density of the foam roller, the more effective it is at moving soft tissue around. So there's groups, movements and exercises that you can do on a foam roller, such as rolling the upper back. So that's another example of mobilising the upper back area. And you simply lie on the foam roller with the foam roller placed behind the shoulder blades. And just by raising the hips and giving the head and neck a little bit of support, you can roll that upper back area. And what it does is draws blood and other fluids to that area, so it hydrates tissue. This is simple for helping repair tissue and to break down and bind in those areas. It's nice and light to travel with, so you can take it to a competition, and it's it's something you can do back of the float or the truck, or and then you can target those areas, the upper back, the hips, and around the calves, which are at the back of the legs, for those three areas to gain mobility and help you warm up. And you'll notice the difference when you get on the horse, and the horse will thank you for it too.
Now, how can we activate the stablers, so they're recruiting in the muscle chains of movements of the horse? Can you explain a little bit about that, please?
What you can actually do is you can do in groups of certain exercises to wake up a muscle, or to get it to recruit in the full chain of muscles. So we have chains of muscles that join together with what are called fascic planes, I mentioned before. For example, we have one chain of muscles that travel from base of the feet through the back of the leg, the calves, the hamstrings, through the back extensors, all the way up through the neck and across the scalp and finish at the eyebrows. It's all one chain of muscle. And if there can be muscles within that chain that are more active than others, and so we can help to get segments of that chain, or to activate by doing simple exercises. What's specific for equestrians are all the stabilisers around the hips and the lower abdominals. So the stabilisers sit on the side of the hips. So those are called your glute medius. And there's doing to help activate those muscles, you can do single leg stands and single leg squats. You may need a bit of support against the rail or a post to be able to do that. And being mindful of keeping your hip, knee and ankle alignment. And you can, holding onto your post, you can hinge back at the hips. And just do a small squat that will help to get the glute medius to fire up, so that it's woken up, as like I was saying, and that when you get onto the horse, you'll feel like you've got better lateral stability. And of course, lateral stability is the key for riders, and so that they don't fall off. Part of those lateral stabilizers are your obliques. So the obliques are your abdominal muscles that sit on the side of the stomach, And to activate those, you can do some planks, soft planks. And so there's some really effective exercises if you look on YouTube for those as well. There are a couple of really simple exercises just to help to keep those muscles recruiting.
That's interesting, yeah. So, Jason, you've had lower back injuries. How can we manage injury and avoid the pain of the lower back or any other injuries as well?
Sure. And I think probably most equestrians could empathise with lower back pain at some stage of their riding career. And it's due to the fact that there's a lot of compressive forces on that lower back and in the lumbar region in particular. And so managing balance of muscles around that whole section of the body is key to keeping a healthy spine. And so one of the balance of those muscles in particular are the hip flexors for riders. Because we're in the seated on the horse, we are in a slight hip flex position, and so typically the hip flexors over a period of time come short, and especially if your vocation is injury, so you're seated for long periods of the time of the day, your hip flexors shorten and adapt to whatever position that you do mostly in the day. Hip flexors attach to the lumbar, the deeper hip flexors attached to the lumbar region. And sometimes if we are, typically most people are right-handed, and so we are using the right side of our body more, and the right hip flexor commonly is tighter. So if you have musculature that's tighter on one side of the body, it will pull on the skeletal structure, or in this case the lumbar region, to one side, which causes irritation around the joints and inflammation, and then that inflammation starts to give you that pain. And so helping reduce that pain is doing hip flexor stretches or hip openers. A really simple exercise. If you come down onto one knee and you stick your stance, so you've got one leg forward and while you're resting on the back knee, and a right angle in both knees, and you just tailbone under slightly so that you're flattening the lower back, and squeeze the glute or the butt on that back leg. And that'll, you might find that position alone will start to stretch the front of the hip and the hip flexors. And what it'll do with the hip flexors, so there's less pull on the lumbar area. And once you've been stretching muscle, you're actually inhibiting that muscle to, so it's less active, and the chain of recruitment, like we were saying. And once you've inhibited that muscle and you've released off the front chain, which is the hip flexor, you then activate the back chain. So you do what's called the donkey kick. So a donkey kick is come down onto all fours, and it's also called a stance, and under your shoulders, and you knee under your hips, and raise one leg higher, like a donkey kicking, essentially, and creates glutes. And so what it does is it changes the balance of the hip, and it helps release the hip flexor, and then it activates the glutes, and then that changes the pelvic position in the saddle as well. So it's so you can sit with more neutral position on the sit bones, and that'll help reduce the pain also.
Now, if we talk about alignment and straightness, and you've done a lot to get us aligned, the exercises you've used and everything else. But I want to think now about alignment and straightness. What can we do to make a quick check before we get on the horse to make sure we are aligned and to make sure that we're straight?
Actually, that feeds into what we were talking about just before. If to identify what hip flexor is tighter for you, really simple exercise. If you can't just standing and you put your heels on straight line, so essentially, so the back of your feet are aligned, And then you take both the thumbs and place them on the top of your pelvis. So if you feel around the top of the pelvis, you'll feel a ridge where it's called the ASIS, and if you pass both at the top of the pelvis and take a glance down at your thumbs, it's a quick check to see if one of your hips is slightly forward than the other opposite hip, and the thumb that is slightly forward is the hip that is the tighter one. So that's the one that you need to stretch. And you can follow that up with the stretch that I was just talking about. So it's a really simple check to get before you get on the horse, just see what the position of your hips, and with that simple check. And once you've got that, your pelvis in a neutral position, it's a lot easier for you to gain a longer leg in a neutral position with the upper body also.
Okay, so say if we've done that check, what exercises and stretches can we use to realign the body prior to getting on the horse?
Sure. There's essentially we want to have the same balance or length of muscles in the front of the body as we do in the back. And if our muscles in the front body are short, well, that'll draw us to a slouch position, which is a common position for riders. Once the shoulders roll forward, the head tends to find what's called a poke neck position, or a forward or anterior position. And that puts a lot of stress through the neck and through the shoulders and the upper back. Typically, that position comes about from being in sedentary roles, and the front chain of muscle, again, just shortens over time and adapts to that position. So we do the opposite of that in exercise routines or intermittently throughout the day is best. So the body doing simply standing and placing the hands in the small of the back for some support, switching on glutes, so squeezing the butt, and then extending back and putting a sense of space in the back of the neck. You're looking up to the ceiling or to the sky, and you're just pressing the hips forward and rolling the shoulders back so you get the whole front chain of muscles open and lengthen. You want to hold that position for about 20 to 30 seconds, 2 sets, and you'll find that your body will just start to give a sense of space in the front of the body and a sense of height when you're seated in the saddle. So it's a really simple technique there. And other chest openers, especially because most of us have a slight anterior position or forward position with the shoulders, and so doing these sort of chest openers where you've got you can take the hands, clasp the hands in behind the body or behind the back, and to open up the chest and just hold 20 seconds, and it'll put up all the breathing cavities and the intercostal muscles through the rib cage and enable a full breath, which is essential for relaxation and techniques also.
Okay, so we've lined up, we're fit and we're ready to get on the horse, and we move off walk and a bit of sitting trot, but we're bouncing around too much or we're tense. What muscles can we use or target to help improve that sitting trot?
Sure. This is a question I get asked a lot, and it's every rider wants to be able to sit better to the trot. And a lot of the riders that struggle with it the most, very tight adductor muscles. So the adductor muscles are the muscles on the inside of the thighs. And dominant muscles in the body, so if a tighter muscle regarded as a dominant muscle. And tight muscles tend to take over a movement. So what happens for a rider that has a tight adductor muscles, they'll tend to want to try to use that grip with the inner thigh to be able to stabilize. And because dominant muscles will become more dominant, it means weaker muscles become weaker. So by, again, stretching the adductor muscles, you inhibit those adductor muscles, and then it gives the weaker muscles to fire and stabilize. There's the communication that goes on between the adductor muscles and the glute medius, which is the muscle that we were talking about earlier. So doing an inhibition stretch on the adductors would be something like a hold on to stabilize on rail again with a post and taking a wide stance, with a slight turn toes, and bend into one knee, keeping the leg straight, so that you're gaining a stretch into that inner thigh region and holding for 20 to 30 seconds, and then doing the same to the opposite side. And following that stretch, you activate the glute medius, and you can do a single leg squat. So you do the adductor stretch followed by the single leg squat, so that you're helping to switch off the dominant muscle and get those weaker muscles recruiting. For the sitting trot also, there's a combination of abdominals that are stabilizing you in the saddle also key for sitting trot. And those are your lower abdominals. And lower abdominals can be activated really easily by lying on your back in a supine position and having your knees bent with your feet flat on the floor. And to protect the back, you just want to bring the lower back flat to the floor, or just with a small neutral curve. And you can raise both legs up, but first initiate that abdominal activation, just drawing the belly button in towards the spine a little bit, and then bringing both feet up, and that'll get those deeper abdominals to fire up. If at any stage you feel pain in the back, though, just bring the legs down and reset and start again. Monitor that one, because if you're acute lower back pain, it's stop. But this type of exercise will get those lower abdominals working. And in that set position, once you've got the legs up and that raised above off the ground, the lower leg parallel to the floor, so it's all tabletop position. And you drop one leg to the ground at a time, keeping that activation of those and that sense of containment or work through those abs as you're dropping one leg towards the ground at a time. And sometimes you only need one set of in each leg to get those muscles, the correct muscles working. Those muscles are found to be really effective targets for a sitting trot.
Now, Jason, what can we do if we're at competition or something? How can we manage the stress and anxiety? Have you got some correct breathing techniques we can use, or types of movements that we can use even before we even get on the horse?
Yeah. Breathing techniques are really important. To see, sometimes we can go into stress breathing, or even not breathing at all when we're on the horse. And so prior to getting on the horse, just to know where your anxiety levels are, it's a good test. If you place one hand on the stomach or one hand on the chest, and you feel where the breathing is coming from, if it's coming from the stomach, you've got good diaphragmatic breathing. So it means your diaphragm's opening and closing effectively. And after the stomach rises or fills, then the secondary breathers, or the chest, If you're finding that the stomach's not moving and you're just using a secondary breathers, there's a good chance that your anxiety levels are raised. The secondary breathers are also referred to as your stress breathing, stress breathers. And the response from the body is raised cortisol levels in the system. What happens if you're stress breathing, your cortisol levels rise, and those stress hormones, we need a certain amount of that cortisol in our system to help us function. But if they get too high, then that creates tension in the body and other heightened responses. So the fascia and the muscular system are affected by your hormonal levels. So keeping those hormonal levels and all the feel-good hormones in balance are really key. A couple of research has shown that doing a victory pose is very effective for raising the feel-good hormones in the body. So a victory pose is with the arms above head and open out to the side in a standing position with the hips forward. So the whole front of the body is open. And if you hold that for 2 minutes, you'll get all the endorphins and all the feel-good hormones firing around your system, and that'll help your breathing and your relaxation. So it's a really simple technique.
Now, how important is good shoulder mobility, like stability, alignment, or what can we do to improve this?
Sure. Well, the joint has a lot of range of many ranges of motion. So and to enable that shoulder to move in all those planes of motion, it's held there with balance of muscles on the top to the front and the back and underneath. And so having the right balance of those muscles, front to back, top to bottom, is key for a neutral shoulder position. Like I was saying earlier, typically most of our shoulders are has an anterior rotation or a forward position, and that means that the front chain of muscle or the pecs, it's the chest muscles, are short, and that the upper back muscles that are attached to the shoulder blade are long. So we need to balance so that we can sit on the horse with a more neutral position with the shoulder, and with a more neutral position comes relaxation in the shoulder girdle, and of course relaxed shoulder and is critical, is important for a good sensory feedback with the contact. And so if we're holding tension in the shoulder, that will transfer down the arm through all those planes of muscle and fascia, and it will transfer into the contact and the horse's mouth ultimately. So changing the balance of the shoulder and bringing it into a more neutral position will usually for most of us mean doing releasing the pecs. Simple technique, taking a tennis ball, rolling it around the chest area up against a wall. You might find that there's some white spots there. And then opening up the chest with by bringing the arms behind. Good position is taking a flat hand position on a wall or the side of the float, and just turning away from that position so that you're lengthening out the peak and the arm line, and then doing rows. So rows are like a rowing machine, essentially. So that you're shortening the back chain muscle. It's difficult to do rows in the front. I mean, you can, if you're that keen, you can actually under the bumbar of the float and grab a hold of the bumbar and lift yourself up with the feet on the ground. And that'll help to activate that chain of muscle and all the stabilizers that sit around that shoulder joint. So it's really simple methodology. Really, it's releasing the tight muscles and activating the weaker ones.
Okay, now, is there such a thing as body mapping when we're mounted on the horse, alignment, joint positioning, along those lines? What can you tell us about that?
Sure. I call it body mapping because a quick scan of the body when you're on the horse, and you can start at the hips, start at the pelvis, and it's an internal dialogue that you've got going on in your head, essentially, about where's the position of my sit bones, and am I sitting directly on top of my sit bones, or am I sitting to the back of the saddle, or am I sitting to the front of the saddle? You want to have that neutral position over top of those sit bones, and then and the dialogue can move down to the leg position. Have you got a relaxed inner thigh? Is your leg down and on, or is it gripping up? Are you carrying any superfluous tension in the body? And so just roll that face out. Really effective technique just by like shoulders. A lot of riders have tension in the shoulders without realising it, and you can shake the shoulders, and it's shown to help to release those muscles. I mean, you might want to be careful about shaking too much on particular horses, but it's a quick and effective technique, and so it's really a head-to-toe body scan of where your joint positioning is, what your structure and alignment is like on the horse.
Jason, this has been perfect today. I've actually done all the movements as you've been going. I haven't sort of counted because we've been, too busy having a conversation, but I have done a lot of these movements. I think I've done all of them, and I feel so much better, so much better, warmed up, ready to go riding. I think the exercises that you've given us to get ready, the top 10 tips for improving our competition strategies, from Jason Hill, who's a rider specialist and rider fitness and safety. And you can find out a bit more about him on horsechats.com. Just go to horsechats.com, search for Jason, search for Hill. And this is actually his talk number 3. So I think if you want to go through those exercises, we've got some show notes with timestamps if there's any particular exercises, or just go through and keep listening to them and doing the exercises as you go. And if you need to stop, turn off the recording and then start again. I think it's just a really good warm-up session before you get on a horse. You don't have to worry about competitions. Just go and do it every day before you get on a horse anyway. Jason, thanks very much for coming today. We'll catch up with you again soon and go through some more tips on rider fitness and safety. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Glenys.
If you've enjoyed this chat, then please comment, rate and subscribe. If you'd like any changes or recommendations for guests, then please contact us through horsechats.com. And while you're online, have a look at the government-accredited courses at internationalhorsecollege.com. Registered Training Organisation 31352.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.